Willkommen zurück bei Greentech.LIVE bei den Nachmittagssessions. Wir wechseln in die englische Sprache nochmal. Wir haben einen internationalen Gast. So let's switch to English. We have an international guest calling from Chile. Andrés, can you hear us?
I can hear you perfectly.
Amazing. Where are you calling from? Chile, I guess?
Yeah, right now I'm in Chile.
Okay, very nice to actually hear and see you. What time is it in Chile?
Now it's 11 o'clock in the morning.
Okay. So I'm not sure if you had the opportunity to see some of the sessions that we had, but there were certain parts actually connected to your world. This is architecture and sustainability in buildings, etc. So I think it's very interesting that I know one of your co-founders, Jorge, from Stuttgart, and you are connecting from Chile. So this is an interesting thing. So you guys are basically living in two different continents, but you cooperate on a daily basis. So I hope we can learn a little more about this setup. And I hope you have a small presentation for us so we get some insights in your project. Your company's name is Strong by Form. You guys are strong entrepreneurs. I know that from Jorge. And if you have a presentation to share, that would be, that's your invitation to share with us.
Amazing. Thank you for that. Yeah, I'll share my presentation, let you know what we do at Strong by Form, and happy to discuss afterwards how we made out of this early stage startup our global company since day one.
Yeah, amazing. So the overall idea is you give a 15 to 20 minutes presentation, then we'll have a Q&A with a number of journalists here in the room and also connected online. So if we could set it up in this specific time frame, like 15 to 20 minutes presentation, then a 10-minute Q&A. But I think we discussed this ahead. Yeah?
Yeah, that's totally fine. That's totally fine.
Okay, so Andrés, this is your stage. Welcome from Chile.
Thank you very much. So hello everyone, happy to be here. My name is Andrés Mitnik, and I am the CEO of Strong by Form, a startup that is creating the future of wood. And this is a future where wood is an advanced composite material. It's productive and sustainable. Actually, we're able to enhance the forestry yield by 400% for structural purposes compared to current technologies, while also we're paving the way for wood's innovative applications in new industries. But the problem we're trying to solve is basically that humanity needs to build 13,000 buildings every day for the next 25 years, and that's just to deal with population growth. That doesn't take into account commercial buildings, office buildings, etc. So basically the built environment will continue growing. We know that. The trick is that we must do so without burning the planet in the process. But construction, as we know it, is not up to the task. Construction is the world's largest polluter and the biggest consumer of raw materials, and its productivity has lagged for the last 40 years. Many companies are placing their bets on prefabrication, where the 10 times productivity gains can be achieved. And we're with them in prefabrication, but we're stronger. We're stronger because we're inspired by nature. And every day, nature puts out there millions of cubic meters of structural materials in the most sustainable and efficient manner, in sharp contrast with polluting materials created by us humans. And this is why wood has a much lower impact than other structural materials like concrete and steel. But the question is, are we using wood in a really sustainable way today? And what does it need for wood to become a game changer against the fight in climate change around our built environment? Current structural wood use, like for example cross-laminated timber or CLT for short, consumes massive amount of wood. It is the leading timber technology in high-rise construction, but it basically consists of gluing lumps of wood together to create massive solid wood components. So we're using a high-performance material in the same way we built the pyramids 4,000 years ago, relying on its mass to create structural performance. Actually, the 20-story building you're looking at the left required cutting 16,000 trees. So it's quite clear that this approach limits the sustainability of wood, but also limits the versatility of wood. Can you imagine, for example, a car being made out of CLT? So we came to understand that for wood to become a game changer in making our built environment more sustainable, we must do three things. We must optimize the use of the forestry resource, meaning making more out of every single tree, minimize the mass required for structural performance, meaning using wood in a much more efficient manner, and also recover wood flow freeform capabilities to be able to open doors for wood to become a game changer in other industries, not only in construction as we have traditionally seen. And when we ask ourselves this question, we actually find the answer in nature. That's why we have created a timber-based composite that replicates the internal structure of trees. And trees are strong and lightweight. They're actually stronger than steel per unit of weight we're working in tension. And we're not the ones that noticed that wood is an advanced composite material with an amazing performance. Back in the day, ships were the most sophisticated structures of their time. Shipbuilders would actually look at trees and use their high performance of natural wood in their designs. Builders would even tie young trees to them to bend them and create curved structures as the ones they required, like an old school version of ship optimization. The trick is that we want to use this performance, but we don't want to wait 20 years for a bended tree to grow up. And that's why we developed wood flow, exactly to bring back the natural intelligence of wood to engineer timber. So just like nature has done with trees, we combine material science with state-of-the-art digital optimization and fabrication techniques to create a shape and fiber architecture that maximizes performance while minimizing material consumption. Wood flow is strong enough to replace concrete, steel, and aluminum as the go-to materials in construction. Moreover, our fully automated technology enhances construction sustainability and productivity, two things the industry is craving for. Our goal is to prove that technology has reached a level where there's no trade-off between sustainability and profitability. And wood flow works. Using our proprietary design to fabrication software, we developed a prefabricated slab prototype, which weighs less than 35 kilograms and withstands loads beyond 600 kilograms. And this means that it goes beyond the norms of the European Union to become a structural component with less than half of the bending. And this allows us to create very long spans made out of wood in an economically viable manner. And as you will see in a moment, the ability of achieving these very long spans is a key part of our value proposition. But we're not doing this because it's easy, but to have a huge impact. Wood flow slabs, we're not just building using wood flow slabs. We are resisting more while consuming less and polluting less than any other competing product. Imagine this. For every instance where we replace a steel or a concrete slab with our lightweight wood flow components, we're not only saving weight where wood flow is, but also allows to optimize material consumptions in other parts of the structures, require thinner beams, thinner walls, and less foundations. Also, every time wood flow replaces cross-laminated timber, we're saving 75% of the trees required to support the exact same load. And for every 1% of the world slab market that we are allowed to capture by replacing steel, we will be saving 0.5 gigatons of CO2 emissions per year. And for every 1% of the world slab construction market we capture, we will be selling north of 7 billion of wood flow products. To scale globally and affordably, we will license our manufacturing technology to establish a worldwide network of wood flow providers. But we're not stopping there. We're also launching a cloud service empowering architects and designers to craft their own wood flow products and source them through local providers, sparkling innovations without us having to foresee every single wood flow application. So Stronger Form will pave the way first, developing and marketing the initial generation of wood flow products ourselves. And then we have strictly partnered with timber products leaders and crafted the go-to-market strategy that navigates from lower to higher entry barriers, ensuring our architectural products with low certification requirements will market early while we finalize and test the structural components I will show in a moment. So combining all our innovative concepts, we crafted a standard product portfolio of sustainable products for construction. First and early is a beautiful cladding solution, specifically tailored for the hospitality and corporate domains, looking for unique, very material efficient, sustainably sourced claddings. And this is going to be launched probably in Spain in March 2024. We will then next introduce our freeform timber facades, which embody how the synergy between nature and technology can actually reshape our built environment. Using our same technology approach, we will also start the production of our first structural products, which are robust timber joints, capable to connect wood beams using a wood connection and not a steel connection. When you connect wood with steel, you need to over-dimension wood just to deal with the mechanical stresses created in the contact points with steel. Using wood to connect wood makes a much more efficient use of wood, allowing to create larger structures. And here is our first client, which is Deutsche Bahn, with whom we're working to create a fully wood-based shelter for train platforms. The beauty is that they need to update 20,000 of these in the upcoming years. And while we're deploying our first products, we will be finalizing, together with Fraunhofer, the development and testing and prototyping of our wood flow lightweight long spans. These spans go well beyond the 8 meters that you can achieve economically in an economically feasible manner with CLT, but go well beyond 10, 12, even 14 meters. This allows us to move timber construction from residential, where it's mainly used today, to office and commercial uses, and allows us to think that we will be actually able to replace millions of square meters of concrete by a lightweight, sustainable option. But construction is only the beginning. We see huge opportunities in the automotive sector as well. Recently, we have signed NDAs with 2 major car manufacturers, and it's very, very likely that we will be piloting next year something with BMW to start understanding which is our niche in automotive. BMW was the first company that ever told us they were interested in wood flow, but being a supplier of a major car manufacturer is no easy feat. That's why we're validating in construction, or we're understanding which is our niche in automotive. Our goal is to be in 5 years in the production line of the next generation of electric vehicles. But approach timber as an advanced composite materials also opens doors in an endless number of industries and can create multiple opportunities. That's why we believe the value of wood flow goes well beyond what we're imagining today. But to bring this vision to life, we need the best and the better to put it forward. In our case, Daniel, our COO, has a long experience in digital fabrication. So he's in charge of our software development and hardware development targeted towards the manufacturing process. We need to master digital optimization, which is with Jorge, who is finalizing a PhD in engineering at the University of Stuttgart. And we need to combine these deep tech developments with a savvy business strategy, which is what I bring to the table. I have a degree in economics from Harvard, and I have been part of a busy fund for the past 6 years before jumping into strong reform. We also need the best possible advice, and that's why we have put together a network of leading executives and scientists from around the world that can help us guide our journey and actually achieve the huge impact we are planning to realize. And we know that there's market traction because corporates around the world are actually seeking for sustainable alternatives to replace polluting materials. And we're in a prime position to meet this demand, particularly from the hospitality and corporate sectors in Europe and the US. Early corporate investors like Finsa from Spain and CMPC, LATAM's largest producers of pulp and paper, are pivotal in our market entry. Both have new lines of CLT and have a broad network of clients, including giants like NH, Marriott, and Carrefour. So for strong reforms, market size isn't a question. The question is, are we going to be able to deliver at the right price and how we will scale? And we have answers for all those questions. Which is why, together with our network of partners and investors, we expect to reach over $1 billion of sales in 10 years, and they're a business model designed for scalability since day one. We know the built environment needs to continue growing, and we believe human creativity can do so in a way that is sustainable, efficient, and profitable. To bring this vision to life, we've opened a 5.5 million seed round. So if this vision resonates with you, please join us in making Strong by Form even stronger. Thank you very much.
So there is a very strong international team, and I was wondering, does that actually help you to scale in the international business, or is it a burden on the other hand? Because I know Jorge is in Stuttgart, but you laid out all these international partners. It seems like a really big organization, but you're just a bunch of folks working on this right now, is it?
That's exactly right. We're 9, but we designed this on a global scale from day one, because we realized that in the world of deep tech innovation, it's very hard to predict where opportunities will arise. We know that 60% of the timber high rises being built today are being built in Europe, and that's why our work connection in Europe is very important. And we know European companies are leaders in cross-laminated timber, and European countries have an agenda of sustainability. So that's why we made Europe our first focus. But for example, we're preparing a proposal for a project in Marrakesh as well. So being global was sort of our way to hedge the risk of having a narrow market or being or making it hard to obtain the first projects. Today, we're prepared to work on the US, on Europe, on Asia, on Chile. What we knew, though, was that Chile was way a small market and not as sophisticated as we required. And that's why we seem to be a global company, which we are, with a very, very small team.
If we look at the global impact and the opportunities that you laid out in your graphs, it's amazing, and this is going to be like a really, really big thing. I'm wondering, because you were basically showing 2 areas of your expertise and your involvement. That's basically the automotive industry, and on the other hand, it's the building and the construction industry, basically. If you look ahead in the future, do you see more potential? Do you see potential in both areas, or do you see a little more potential in the automotive as well as the construction or building industry? Where do you see your main goals?
Yeah, so we see a lot of potential in both industries. Both industries have challenges, but we think we're well placed to address them. And also, again, it's a way to hedge the risk, because one of the advantages of wood flow is that it's the only bio-based material we are aware of that is designed to be deployed in millions of square meters to serve construction, while achieving the weight to strength ratio required in automotive. What this means is that we can actually fail on a product, but succeed in another one. And by having broader options, the chances of success are maximized. So construction, it's easy to create a value proposition. Productivity is terrible. So making construction more productive is not very hard for us. And making it more sustainable, neither either. The problem is that it's a conservative industry, so and structures are meant to stand for a long period of time. So we need really to create confidence in clients that our materials will last as long as steel and concrete, and actually wood does that. But that's an easier fit than addressing the level of finishing, reliability, and certifications that you need in automotive. The beauty of automotive on our side is that because we have a pressing process, we like a lot of repetition. So having hundreds of thousands of components that are identical is a very sweet spot for us. And we could work with multiple car companies. So this large number of units make this a very, very attractive proposition for Strong by Form. Now, we need to learn and we need to master our fabrication process, the finishing of our material, and go through the certifications required for entering automotive. That's why that's later in the pipeline, where we think we're very well suited for the realm of structural components of car. Now, then it's boats, then it's furniture, and then it's a number of embodiments that we can have. Those might be smaller industries, but the same concepts are applied to them. But that's why our scaling is about letting others thinking about their wood flow products, because we know there are way more uses than what we can envision, and we would love to create sort of an ecosystem around the wood flow that actually is building structural components out of wood without us having to think about every single idea.
Interesting. So interesting. The international space basically helps your product and your development. Bertie, are you online, Bertie? There you are. You're muted. Sorry, Bertie. Please unmute. I don't still hear you. Sorry. No audio. Okay, I guess we'll continue with questions here. There's no audio, unfortunately, Bertie.
Mhm.
There's audio now, Bertie, I hear.
Ich höre euch, hört ihr mich?
Yes. Your stage, Bertie.
Okay, very cool. Thank you very much, Andres, for this interesting talk. A really fascinating topic. I'm asking my questions from a perspective of a technology-focused journalist, and I'm dealing with consumer electronics and the like. Can we see maybe in the future computer housings or the backs of smart TVs wearing wood housings instead of plastic, as they do right now? Because this might be also very sustainable in order to avoid using oil and petroleum for plastic components.
Yeah, that's a good question. We've been asked that several times. We don't really think it's doable and it's possible. And in particular in electronics, you also are addressing the lightweight side of it. The trick there is that plastic is still very cheap, and competing with molded plastic, it's complicated. Our process and we do not believe that technology really gives you a barrier against a competition, but other things like scale and being able to decrease the cost, that really does. It's like the gigafactory strategy, right? So we do expect to be able to decrease a lot the cost of our material as the technology evolves.
Mm-hmm.
So we do believe at some point in time, in the next, let's say 3 to 5 years, we will be able to provide an alternative for the electronic industry to plastics at a price point that we need to see if it is the same, but needs to be close to that. In that regard, we do think we have an advantage against carbon fiber, for example, or other composites that are bio-based, because they're still very expensive, and because wood flow needs to deal with industries like construction that are very price sensitive. Cost is a key driver for our value proposition. So in the future, definitely we would love to be on the back of TVs, making them as light but more sustainable than what you're seeing today.
All right, thank you for that. Another question regarding the substitution of sand by wood. I think it's beneficial that we use less sand because sand is a very scarce material, but then we need more trees. What is your prognosis, your forecast for that? How can we make trees grow more faster again? How can we achieve that there are enough trees available?
Totally. So we are fully aware that we need to do this in a sustainable manner. And one of the nice things about wood flow is that we don't need these very nice trees that you usually need for structural components to create perfect planks. So we can use basically any type of wood. We can have biodiversity in the forest, but at the same time, we can use wood that today is not eligible for structural purposes, like poorly managed forests. So the pool of potential supply, in our case, is larger than the traditional timber products. Secondly, we do a very efficient use of the tree by working with strands instead of sawwood. So we have we are able to beat 4 times more with the same tree than current structural technologies. And the part that they're not using, now it's going to burn. So basically we are able to capture that carbon as well. But then there's another fact that cutting trees is not bad for the environment. On the contrary, trees capture more carbon when they grow than where they are mature. So we do want to have some level of tree cutting to be able to maximize the amount of carbon that we're sequestrating using trees. And that's all part of sustainable forestry, which is something that can be done today. So by combining more efficiency in the use of the tree with a broader diversity in the supply, with current sustainable timber practices or forestry practices, we think we can actually make this in a sustainable manner and not create deforestation because of the use of timber.
All right, thanks. Sounds very interesting. I'm really looking forward to see this come to life.
Andrés, as I'm sure you know from Javier or from your business partner in Stuttgart, we are the heart of the automotive industry in Germany, and I'm sure there's a bunch of questions around your initiatives with BMW and with Volvo. Liam, you have a question about the car industry.
Thank you. So my question is, you aim to provide electromobility companies with car parts to provide a more sustainable alternative for transportation. And so my question here is, and when can we expect the first car with integrated wood flow materials? And is there a prototype in building right now?
We in our timeline, we expect to be in automotive in about 5 years. And that's basically because it's not only, this is not only about building something, is that you can build it in a reliable manner and it's always exactly the same. So on the product development side, we might actually achieve something earlier, but we need to master the manufacturing process enough to be able to achieve that layer of output and reliability. We are discussing on what a pilot could be, most likely for a concept car, of course, in the beginning. But the idea there is what we want is, we don't have the answer, but we want these automotive companies to play with our material, to experiment with it and find the niche, because now you have bio alternatives for the bumpers, for example, and you have like flax-based material for the dashboards. That's totally fine. So that's why we want to be in the structural part of the car, where there's a gap steel of biomaterials. Is that a trunk? Is that a roof? Is that the support of the seat? Is that a reinforcement of the door? We still need to see what's our niche. But that's a process that we are getting into. And definitely there's a huge appetite from automotive companies to find these things. Honestly, for them, it's not easy making this change. Actually, they need to change the way they build the cars to be able to incorporate these new materials. And even though they're facing that huge challenge, they are partnering with us, a small startup, and others to be able to become more sustainable.
I'm curious to learn more about your cooperation with Deutsche Bahn.
Perfect. Yeah, no, the cooperation with Deutsche Bahn, it's great. So they have an open innovation program called DB Mindbox. And they every year they invite startups to pitch. And if you're successful, they would actually fund a pilot project, which is something that's really outstanding. And basically what we did was we participated in this competition, and they really liked our material because they have a lot of infrastructure that they need to update, and they want to do it in a sustainable manner. So usually Deutsche Bahn would give you 100 days to create this project, but because, and as far as I understand, German companies are not the most flexible ones. So we're really proud of the fact that we got some flexibility there, because while discussing the scope of the project, actually Deutsche Bahn challenged us with something way more ambitious than what we were proposing. And we told them that we're totally okay, but we need a bit more time. So I cannot go into every single detail, but I really thank Deutsche Bahn for being flexible on us, but also for challenging. They really want us to develop a product that they can buy at the end of the day. And for us, that's amazing, because they have such a scale that only them as a first client could actually make feasible installing a wood floor plant in Germany, for example.
And they have the needs, and they have the scalability. Bertie, you have a question for Andrés?
I'm looking forward to taking the Deutsche Bahn and getting sheltered from the rain on the wood roof, wood stands from you. When will this come to life? What's your forecast for that?
Yeah, so we expect this to be installed in a train station between May and June next year, and that's going to be our first structural actually building or shelter, let's say. And we definitely let know everyone where it is. We'd love to have, it's going to be in one of those high attendance stations. We still don't know which one. But definitely we will let everyone know, so you can go and cover yourself within a wood floor structure.
Okay, please let me know when you come to Hanover, the city where I live. That would be really, really amazing.
Totally. Thank you.
I have a question regarding funding. You mentioned, I tried to look up my slide here. I think you mentioned you're looking into fund 500 million in funds. Is that correct? I tried to look up my slides here.
5.5 millions. Yes.
Yeah. So you look for, let's say, private investors. You look for institutional investors, or someone, in the car industry or in the let's say logistics industry might be interested in your. Where's your main aim here?
Yes. So basically, we are looking for partners that can work with us. And because we're a startup, we combine. I mean, we use venture capital, of course, but being a startup that combines the physical and the digital world is something strange, actually. Venture capitals are used to fund basically software, which scales quicker. But there have been companies that are not software companies that have been backed by VCs. We work with a lot with corporate venture capitals, and they are very nice matched with us because they have sort of a broader time span, and also they provide way more things that are only funding. They provide opportunities to pilot, they provide infrastructure, they provide access to experts, and they provide commercial lines. So right now we have a number of companies from the timber sector. We're discussing with a couple of construction companies. We'd love to have an automotive fund on board. I do believe that we are still too early stage for that to happen, but we would love for that to happen. So what we're doing is that we're putting together, let's say, a consortia of corporate investors in our cap table, but we're matching that with venture capital, regular venture capital, and that's because we do not only have to be technical, but we also need to have a very sounded financial strategy. So by combining these two worlds, we are sending the message that corporates that know the business and know the technologies are putting faith in the fact that we are going to be able to deliver what we're going to deliver. And on the other hand, financial investors also believe that we're going to be able to have the returns that we're promising. And that's why we're putting together both worlds. Actually, the round is pretty advanced. I would say we are around 90% there. But there's still room if someone would like to come on board. I would be happy if anyone would like to contact me. But we're very glad that we have been able to merge these two worlds, which is not very usual in the startup world.
Interested and curious in your because I looked again at your revenue stream forecast. That's impressive, and I wish you all the best to basically succeed on that part. Liam, you have a last question for Andrés.
Like Jochen previously mentioned, one of your business partners works from Stuttgart, and you're based in Chile. So I was wondering, how challenging is it to work in an international team, and how's the communication?
That's a great question. So we started this company like virtually from day one. Jorge, our partner in Stuttgart, has always been in Stuttgart. So we're very used to this. But the word communication that you asked is very crucial, because when you're not meeting face to face all the time and you are basically doing video calls, but also a lot of chats, right? There's a lot of writing via WhatsApp, Slack, whatever. We type a lot. And we realized early in the process, luckily, that when you type things, you cannot see the emotions behind it. We were trying to be very efficient, being very direct, but we started realizing that we were hurting each other's feelings, because being too direct can be misread on the other side if you're not looking at the person. So honestly, to be able to work efficiently in the virtual space, what we are very conscious about being very careful with the words we choose and being sure that the other person realizes that we are caring. So we, even though it's not needed, but we would usually start our message with, I don't know, dear Jorge. He knows he's dear Jorge, of course, but that changes the mood. And we understand that the mood in these conversations is crucial, because you want a fast answer. You don't want someone like giving you an argument just for the sake of making an argument because he thinks you were mean to him. In that regard, we have developed what I call a full methodology on how to communicate in a tender manner or in a kind manner to make sure that the message gets through in the right way. But trust me, we've been working years on how to enhance communication in the virtual space.
Very
not easy.
interesting, and it seems like a very effective way to work. Yeah. So, Andrés, thank you so much. This 30 minutes went by so super fast, and I think we could keep on talking for hours. Thank you so much for joining us in this call. Barry from Hannover, Andrés from Chile, and us in Reutlingen. Wir machen in Deutsch nochmal kurz weiter. Thank you so much, Andrés. Und Berti, wir sehen uns morgen. Wir sehen uns morgen nochmal zur Greentech Live, 2. Tag, Jubiläumsausgabe, 5. Edition der Greentech Live aus Reutlingen. Wir haben viele Gäste wegen mir morgen, den vollen Tagprogramm um 9:30 Uhr geht's los. Schaut gerne auf der Webseite, was los ist. Vielen Dank, bis bald. Ciao, Andrés.
Bis morgen.
Berti, bis morgen. Ciao.